Today, we're going to be breaking down why this roofing profile with nearly 3,700 reviews on their Google Business profile is losing out to a profile that is much smaller with nearly 52 Google Business profile reviews on their GVP, and exactly what the theory is behind it, right? We've been talking a lot about this in the past videos on the channel about different types of SEO strategies, and really what the core one comes down to right now is finding the distance and the proximity to your searcher. That's really the battle you can actually start winning in, and it's easier to do than most business owners think. So today we're just going to do a super live, super raw breakdown of these two companies, kind of talk about the differences in rankings. We're going to look at their actual scans for roof repair near me. This is our main one with the 3,700 reviews. We got some 2s and some 3s right in this belt right here, but it drops off pretty quickly. And then we're going to take a look at what these guys did. Yes, it's not directly on top of the scan, but they're still ranking incredibly well throughout all this suburban area with all these homes down here. And we're going to figure out, what did these guys do, right? What is the strategy? What would I have done differently with these guys? Because they've obviously been in business for, I looked on their website. I think it's like 20 or 30 something years. They've been around for a long time, but they're just not ranking as well as they should, right? We'll get to the ideas behind this. I want to touch on their review distribution. I want to talk about the proximity to searcher. I want to talk about the main location that they actually chose. This is down here in Atlanta, Georgia, and you can see they really chose like the northeast corner way over here, which is a strategy. Sometimes we do this for clients when we want to target more of a suburban area. If they know there's a more affluent demographic, has higher propensity to pay for higher roofing tickets or other kind of high ticket jobs. So it can make some sense sometimes. So we'll break into that. I'll talk about different areas that I think they could target based off this very small, simple scan over here. I'm guessing they can go more west, try and stay away from these guys because they kind of figured some stuff out. We're going to go through exactly what these guys did really well and kind of go through their strategy, look at their landing page, see what exactly is going on over here. So stay tuned. First up on the chopping block is Accent Roofing Service. So let's take a look at their Google Business profile and actually see what's going on. So first off, they do have their primary category set correctly, which I'm pretty happy about. They are closed on Sundays, which probably explains quite a bit about this map over here. Unfortunately, they do say 24/7 live answering, so I would probably keep that live within their hours over here. Definitely missing some calls on Sundays. I understand some business owners don't want to be open, religious reasons or whatnot, but if you do want to dominate the map pack 24/7 like you should with 3,700 reviews, it's kind of the settings you have to poke at with Google. So keep it in mind. Looking through here, we'll talk about their landing page in just a second. Their recent reviews were fantastic. I looked at this. I think they may have had 1-star blip, but their review velocity with the 5 stars is going really well. 21 hours ago, already replied. 4 days ago, 4 days ago, 5 days ago, 5 days ago, 6 days ago, 6 days ago. They're just rating 5-star reviews, right? And we're going to get into this in a minute, but really, given their market and their level of competition, this is overkill, right? You need good review velocity on your Google Business profile. We all know this, right? Without actual 5-star reviews going to your GVP, you're dead in the water these days, and that really makes sense. But there is something such as overkill. And sometimes when we get guys like this on a discovery call and they're proud of their one Google Business profile and they have thousands of 5-star reviews, it's great. But you may have only needed about a third of that to actually take your market and look like something like this for your grid, right? Whereas you should have started opening up multiple profiles everywhere else and distributing those Google Business profiles because, again, the map pack algorithm is a proximity-based algorithm. So if you could actually get multiple Google Business profiles around the area, targeting multiple locations, spreading out those reviews, so you can start to have a much wider impact in the market. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's go to their on page. I actually kind of liked this. In the past, I have recommended that people actually don't put B-roll up here. So like the background video on their hero section for their landing pages. I've seen it work sometimes. I've seen it not work sometimes. Google seems to deprioritize for whatever reason. Text that has a moving background across it. Even slideshows we've seen do so in the past, so we try and steer away from them. Not a hard, fast rule. SEO is obviously more of an art than a science, so every rule comes with a caveat. Georgia's most trusted roofer. It's not bad. Considering they're in the Atlanta area, I would probably say like the Atlanta region roofer or something, if they're going to go for more like SERP type traffic, because Georgia is going to encapsulate the entire state, right? They're going to be all throughout here. That's what they're trying to rank for, if that's their main homepage target for their keyword, which it looks like it is, right? They're trying to target Georgia itself, not just Atlanta. So I might dial that back. I like this better, serving the Atlanta and Athens areas since 1989. Yes, these guys have been in business forever, right? Amazing legacy. they just don't have many distributed Google business profiles, which means they've probably had to spec into other more expensive types of marketing that doesn't compound nearly as well as SEO in the past. Food for thought. So let's scroll down here. Let's see if anything picks up in the dev tools. Accident roofing service, #1 roofing services in Georgia. Again, that's fine if you're trying to target SERP traffic. Probably going to be more of a local SEO play for these guys, to be honest. Google, Georgia's most trusted roofer, most experienced roofing contractor. Our roofing services include, okay, so I'm not seeing a lot of Atlanta-based wording. The Atlanta and the Athens area. Looks like we might have some overlap issues there. We got some good trust badges here. I'd like these to be links. So Google is prioritizing more and more off-page entities in SEO to try and show relevance. So like backlinks, awards, Better Business Bureau. Unfortunately, Yelp reviews are actually starting to come into the into play right now. We don't want to deal with Yelp, but we might actually have to in the future here for more citations from not only Google itself, but also AI. Roof replacement, these are all good. I'd probably tie these to the Georgia area with all these keywords, not just view service, but view our Atlanta roofing service or view our Georgia roofing services, something like that if you're going to point to the services directory page. Roofing services to protect North Georgia homes. Not bad. Don't have any gripe with that. View projects. Again, probably view our roofing projects, right? In previous videos, we've talked about how you need to be throwing in the local words a lot more often on your profiles, right? Anytime you can slip in your city name or your state name or your area name, you really should be. And it's super, super important to the algorithm to show exactly where you guys are actually serving your customers, right? So why choose us? Good, but why choose us for your Atlanta roofing services, right? Always trying to throw in those keywords. Get started today is good. More awards over here. I want to see those links. Got good embeds on the reviews. That's fine. Thousands of homeowners. This is good. I really like this. And the contact form at the bottom. Thank goodness. So many people leave off the contact form at the bottom. And again, from previous videos, we've talked about this. You need CTAs visible on the page. These guys have done a phenomenal job of this. Look, they got a financing button and they have a schedule now button. Overall, really good. These guys did a really good job on page. Whatever company they have working for them for their SEO, transparently, not a client of ours again, these guys did okay. They just need a much more aggressive play for Google business profiles on the map pack. So let's look at their rankings, right? They got #2 and they lost out to what? Hail and High Water Roofing or whatever. These guys over here with 194 reviews, which is crazy. Like they have nearly 4,000 reviews in their Google business profile. They should be untouchable for miles. Even if they're not open right now, their hours aren't set to be open at, their time. It's close to 7 o'clock on a Sunday. They should still have ones across the board. So let's dive a little bit deeper. I do want to look at their service areas just briefly. Let's take a look and see what's going on over here. So they have built out. This is weird. I don't know if I would suggest doing one of these. These really tend to slow down the site in crawlers and sometimes kind of confuse them. This is actually really, really interesting. So this is Atlanta, right? And their main profile is located way up here. And look at this. This is actually really interesting for the video. So you can actually see where most of their jobs are located. It's proximity based, right? So if this is more or less their rankings, right, it's actually super small compared to the actual grid. They probably are running PPC campaigns. So if this is their grid over here, you can see it gets awfully dark up in this region around here, and it kind of spreads out. Look, I bet they could stand up a new office, new Google business profile. I bet they've got crews that live close to down here. You could do the same thing in the south. You could do the same thing in the west. You could do the same thing further north up here and try and target these areas. They've done great jobs. They obviously service customers around these areas, but the strategy could be duplicated, then spread out, and then conquered. If you actually have like 5-star reviews coming in at this velocity, man, are they leaving so much on the table. So that's really interesting. I didn't see that in my initial audit before I started the video. Looks like they are actually doing different location pages over here. Let's just kind of grab a few briefly and do an indexation check because indexation is all the rage these days. All right, so that one's good. And I'll probably explain this more in future videos. We're just going to do a brief stop right now. This one's not, which is interesting. Site. And that one is. Okay, so only one of them is de-indexed, which we'll talk about in future videos. It's much more of a technical topic that usually only us SEO nerds really care about. So, okay, they got good service area coverage. This is interesting, and this just highlights the strategy again. Get more Google business profiles. Do it legally, go the DBA route, file for new licenses, stand open offices, and just conquer the map pack. So this is interesting. Overall, I would give this SEO 7.5 out of 10 with I mean, if you had the right campaign, the right mind behind this company right here, driving their SEO strategy, gosh, these guys could probably see something like, I'd say 250% growth in inbound traffic on their GBPs if the right SEO company grabbed it and just started distributing profiles correctly. With their review velocity, it's taking candy from a baby. It would be so, so easy for these guys just to knock it out of the park, truly. So really interesting there. It's kind of my breakdown of these guys. And next, let's get into the second profile. All right, so moving on here, we're going to take a look at the top ranked profile just briefly here for a minute. I didn't do a super deep dive into these guys. The review velocity wasn't great. Their landing page looked honestly really strong, and they're open right now, which probably gives them the leg up at this odd time that I did the search for them, which kind of makes sense. I was really interested in the roofing company down here, which is what I want to break into right now. Look at this ranking at 52 reviews. Look at these guys. They're absolutely dominating this market. And as we just saw with the breakdown over here, sure enough, there are jobs to be done in those locations, right? These guys have been around forever. They're obviously trying to target these markets. So what happened, right? 52 reviews, and these guys are already cracking the market. Look very, very, very closely at this. Look how thin the competition is right around them. This company, let's take a look really quick. When did they actually pop up? Because I'll bet these guys are kind of new. Let's scroll down a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Okay, so they're not super legacy, but they have been around for, let's say, about 6 to 7 years. This is incredible. Look at this. So just what I was talking about a few minutes ago, it is so important to start spreading out your profiles as soon as you already dominate one market. Look how easy it would have been for these guys, our main account that we're diagnosing, Accent Roofing Service, just to get one more Google Business profile down here. Guys, they would outrank them in, I don't know, I would say 2 months, probably. You could actually dominate this market in 2 months. Find a profile, stand it up. It's not hard to take 52 reviews away from these guys. Look at this. And they're actually out of their home, which technically is against Google Terms of Service. You can report those profiles sometimes. Oh, this is the top one. Hang on. Looks like these guys are out of a strip mall. So that's actually correct. This is fine. But it would not be hard to take these guys out. Look at this. Their most recent review is over a year ago. That's insane. It would be so easy to come in here and take this. What happened? I'm guessing this is a rank and route play from another SEO company. The roofing company is a little bit on the nose. Their domain is a little bit on the nose too. theroofingcousa.com. Kind of looks like a stand-up site. Who knows? We'll never know for sure. But I think a company came by and they saw a whole bunch of opportunity. Look at the number 2 ranked guy, 7 reviews. Number 3 is 22. Number 3 is only 93 reviews, and they're not even doing that well in their location down here. Next, let's move on to the landing page and see what's going on there. So let's pull it up and go over here. Premier Roofing Contractor, Certus in Atlanta, which I like. It's on the nose for the primary keyword. It's all caps, which doesn't actually matter. We've A/B tested this in the past. Google doesn't seem to mind. If you've been following along so far, you know that I'm probably going to be griping about more location type words in their H2s. See, roofing company Atlanta's local roofing experts. I like that. I don't know if that's an H2 tag. Let's take a look. Okay, so it looks like it is an H2 tag, which is good. I like that. Scrolling down, services we offer in the Atlanta area. Roofing services we offer in the Atlanta area would be better. Roofing company, roofing needs in the Atlanta area. I would have tacked that on, but super thin landing page, right? And this goes back to strategy we've been talking about all week in all of our previous videos. A lot of the strategy comes down to actually just expanding your Google Business Profile footprint, driving enough SEO to those profiles, showing Google you're a prominent figure in this space, and then starting to rank in that area. This is all these guys did. Honestly, their on-page SEO, I would give a 5 or 6 out of 10 at best. And then looking at their profile, all they did was they stood up with the right primary category, they got a bunch of 5-star reviews, and they began ranking. This is insane. It would not be hard to actually expand this. We tell clients all the time, like whenever they're ready for more leads, let's just go stand up a new Google Business Profile, run the exact same strategy, max out the area, and then repeat, right? Usually you aim to do this about once to twice a year, depending on how aggressive you actually want to grow in your area. But it's by far the most successful strategy. And that's how these guys actually got a better ranking than our original profile. They just know exactly what areas to target. We went over this in a previous video. You want to look for the profiles that are already weak, right? The ones that already have bad landing pages, bad SEO, bad off-page, bad on-page, bad business names, right? Like, no offense to these guys, but, K Roofing LLC, Grace Mountain Renovations, it's all fine. But if you made something like the Atlanta Roofing Company or Atlanta Roof Repair LLC, you're just going to be dominating the market, right? The name on your Google Business Profile is the H1 tag of your Google Business Profile, basically, right? And we know that's the most important tag on every single landing page you can possibly use. So that's really the strategy. I just want to break this down for you guys today. All these guys have squeaked out with such an incredible ranking. I bet they have more leads. I bet, I don't have access to these two Google Business Profiles, but I bet if you actually took these two and you looked at their actual rankings within their Google Business Profiles and you looked at their non-branded search, so just actual keywords people are searching, I bet this profile probably has twice as many qualified calls coming in just from targeting the right market and seeing a gap. So in future videos, I do want to go over more of that, identifying exactly how to find these opportunities in your market, where to actually target new physical addresses, the strategy we use to get clients more leads through that, and basically double roofing companies year over year for their inbound organic traffic. So stay tuned. That's going to be coming to the next video.